from a surprising betrayal to receiving the death penalty. The concept of criminal mind manipulation is recognized within the criminal justice system as a particular form of psychological coercion. This technique is designed to influence individuals to commit illegal activities typically employed in the orchestration and execution of criminal plans. It aims to entice one or more persons into participating in these illegal acts. Manipulators often exploit emotional vulnerabilities or engage in blackmail to achieve their ends. A striking instance of this occurred in the quiet resort town of Daytona Beach, Florida, when the case of Lisa Pasbalakis, later known as Lisa Fotopoulos, came to light in November 1989. The tranquility of the town was shattered when Lisa was tragically shot in the head while sleeping in her bed. The assailant was immediately neutralized by Lisa's husband, who prevented his escape and was initially hailed as a hero for his actions. However, as investigators delved deeper, the case revealed layers of complexity far beyond a straightforward home invasion. They uncovered another fatal incident linked to the case, along with a dark conspiracy involving two accomplices, each harboring their own secretive motives and a shared belief that they could outsmart the law and evade punishment. Lisa Fotopoulos, née Pasbalakis, was the progeny of a prosperous family of Greek immigrants who had settled in Florida in the early 1960s. Her parents established a flourishing business in a bustling tourist district, expanding their ventures to own multiple successful enterprises by the early 1970s, thus securing a significant income. The Pasbalakis family consisted of Lisa and her younger brother Dino. They were the beloved children of their parents who were committed to providing them with a nurturing upbringing filled with love and the best opportunities for success. After completing her high school education, Lisa pursued further studies at a distinguished local college before moving on to the University of South Florida, where she majored in economics and accounting. This background set the stage for a tale of deceit and manipulation that rocked Daytona Beach, exposing a plot that intertwined personal betrayal with criminal intent, challenging the perceptions of victim and perpetrator. As the investigation unfolded, it revealed a narrative of manipulation so intricate that it captivated not just the local community, but crime watchers nationwide. After graduating, Lisa, a sharp and diligent young woman, began working within her family's business empire, managing the accounting for 3 of their companies. By the mid-1980s, Daytona Beach had not only blossomed into a popular resort town, but also hosted one of the largest Greek communities in Florida. This vibrant community was tightly knit, with members frequently supporting each other while fervently preserving and passing down their rich cultural heritage and traditions. Meanwhile, Konstantinos, known simply as Costa Phytopoulos, originated from a modest background on the Greek island of Euboea. After completing high school, he leveraged the support of relatives and the broader Greek diaspora to move to the United States, where he pursued higher education in Florida. Costa was known for his ambition and charm, traits that made him a natural leader and a central figure in social circles, aspiring to a life filled with glamour and high societal standing. When Lisa turned 20, her parents, holding fast to tradition, began the search for a suitable husband within the Greek community, adhering strictly to the custom of arranging marriages within their cultural circle. Costa, with his tall stature, attractive features, and educational background, quickly became the favored choice. By then, he had made a name for himself in Daytona Beach, not only for his burgeoning business ventures, but also for his popularity among women attributed to his intellect and charisma. The family soon arranged a grand wedding, ensuring that Lisa and Costa were well equipped for a prosperous life together. Despite the marriage being arranged, Lisa and Costa seemed to share genuine happiness. However, this bliss was marred by tragedy when Lisa's father passed away unexpectedly in the fall of 1988, a profound loss that shook the family to its core. This event marked the beginning of a series of upheavals that would later reveal the complexities of their seemingly idyllic union. Unable to leave her mourning mother and younger brother alone after her father's death, Lisa and her husband Costa moved into her parents' expansive estate. The mansion was divided in such a way that Lisa and Costa occupied one wing while her widowed mother and brother Dino lived in the other. This arrangement provided both privacy and comfort, as each section of the house was fully self-sufficient, allowing the family to live together, yet independently. In the southern district of Daytona Beach, a modest but popular bar was operated by Tony Calderoni, a savvy businessman known for his ability to draw a crowd despite limited resources to expand. Seeing an opportunity, Costa proposed a partnership to Calderoni, offering to combine their expertise and financial resources to launch a new venture. By early 1989, the duo opened Top Shot's pool hall, with Costa investing a significant amount of his wife's family money, having depleted his own funds on luxuries and his fondness for firearms. Top Shot's pool hall quickly rose to prominence, becoming a hotspot on the Daytona Beach boardwalk. Every night, it attracted not only hundreds of tourists, but also locals, enhancing its reputation as the place to be in the area. Despite the late 80s reputation for safety concerns at night, with drifters and young runaways frequently causing disturbances, the bar thrived under Costa's management. Costa's approach to handling the local youth was unconventional yet effective. He established a firm but respected presence among the street teens, who, instead of troubling the establishment, began performing odd jobs for the bar. In return, Costa provided them with modest pay, engaging them in the toughest and least desirable tasks. This not only kept them out of trouble, but also ingrained a sense of loyalty mixed with a bit of fear towards him. Through these interactions, Costa cultivated a complex relationship with the local youth, balancing fear and admiration to maintain order and loyalty. This strategy not only helped in keeping the bar's environment safe, but also allowed him to wield significant influence over the community's fringe elements, effectively turning potential threats into useful allies. Costa often boasted about his wealth and influence, claiming connections within both political and underworld circles. The aimless youths on the streets, eager for a sense of direction, readily believed his stories. He promised them success if they adhered to his guidance and followed his directives, using his deceptive charm to manipulate them into loyalty and obedience. In the spring of 1989, Deidre Hunt, a 20-year-old woman from a small town in New Hampshire, arrived in Daytona Beach. Escaping a poor and troubled upbringing, she had run away at her first opportunity, drawn southward by the allure of warm oceans. Desperate for any employment, Deidre was immediately struck by the opportunities that lay in the bustling tourist hub. Deidre was undeniably striking, with a slender figure and a charm that seemed to captivate men effortlessly. She was acutely aware of her attractiveness and adept at leveraging it to navigate through life. Her charisma made initiating romances easy, though these connections seldom evolved into serious relationships. Her path led her to Top Shot's pool hall, where she was quickly hired as a waitress, tasked with serving drinks in a revealing beach bikini, an outfit she wore with confidence, boosting her popularity among the patrons and, consequently, the bar's earning. Her presence at the bar did not go unnoticed by Costa, who was instantly smitten with the new waitress. Despite the potential for workplace complications, Deidre reciprocated his interest, and they soon began an affair, discreetly managed to avoid stirring any gossip. To keep their romance under the radar, Costa provided for Deidre luxuriously, arranging her accommodation in a nearby hotel, showering her with gifts, stylish clothes, and even secret yacht trips to the open sea, ensuring their encounters were away from prying eyes. Their relationship, though hidden, grew rapidly as they spent considerable time together in secluded spots where Costa was unknown, minimizing the risk of encounters with acquaintances. This careful management of their affair helped them maintain the secrecy of their relationship, even as they indulged in the freedom of their isolated meetings. However, Lisa, sharp and observant, soon sensed the shift in her husband's behavior. She noticed his absences and the weak explanations that followed. Despite Costa's attempts to conceal his infidelity, Lisa was not deceived by his feeble excuses and began to piece together the reality of his betrayal, marking the start of a profound strain in their marriage. Although Lisa had her suspicions about Costa's fidelity, she lacked concrete proof and was unaware of the other woman's identity. This uncertainty dissolved on October 20th, 1989, when a close friend revealed having seen Costa with a young woman at a boardwalk bar. Realizing the connection, Lisa prepared for a confrontation that very evening when Costa returned home. The discussion that ensued was serious and tense, with Lisa demanding he end the affair immediately to avoid public scandal and disgrace to their family. She threatened divorce, eviction from their luxurious home, repossession of their car, withdrawal of all financial support, and legal action to reclaim the money he invested in the bar, money that had originally come from her relatives. Costa, facing the threat of severe repercussions, feigned understanding and remorse. He assured Lisa of his regret and promised to sever ties with Deidre, attempting to restore his relationship with his wife. Over the following weeks, he outwardly transformed into the model husband, aiming to placate Lisa and create a facade of normalcy and security. Despite his outward show of contrition, Costa was driven by fear of losing access to the wealth and comforts provided by the Pasbalakis family. He realized that inheriting Lisa's assets was the only sure way to maintain his lifestyle. With this dark resolution, he began to devise a plan to have Lisa killed in a manner that would leave him above any suspicion. To carry out his grim plan, Costa needed accomplices who could be manipulated to perform the deed without implicating him. He turned to the street youths who admired him, calculating that their idolization could be twisted to his nefarious end. The culmination of his sinister plot came to a head in the early hours of November 4th, 1989. A panicked call from Dino Pasbalakis, Lisa's younger brother, to emergency services reported gunshots in their home. Dino, awakened by the chaos and unsure of the unfolding situation, advised his mother to secure herself in her room while he went to investigate. As the police arrived, he led them to the wing where Lisa and Costa resided, stepping into a scene that would unravel further complexities in the tragic narrative of betrayal and manipulation. According to Dino, the origin of the sounds that awoke him was now eerily marked by groans and cries for help emanating from the same location. When the police arrived, they were met with a harrowing scene. In the bedroom, a young woman lay in a pool of her own blood with a devastating gunshot wound to her head. Beside her, Costa was found desperately cradling her and pleading with the officers to save his wife's life. Near the bed, the officers discovered the lifeless body of an unidentified young man lying face down. He had sustained multiple gunshot wounds, and a revolver was found next to him on the floor. Another handgun rested on the nightstand adjacent to the bed. Costa recounted that he and his wife had been asleep when an intruder, presumably intent on robbery, broke in and shot Lisa. Costa claimed that the sudden noise of the break-in had jolted him awake. In a panicked response, he had grabbed the handgun from his nightstand, which he kept for self-defense. According to his account, he fired 5 shots at the intruder and delivered a final fatal shot to the head, all in a desperate bid to protect himself, his wife, and their home. Amidst the chaos and darkness, Costa said he had acted instinctively, barely comprehending the unfolding events as he reached for his gun. It was only after the intruder was incapacitated that he realized the gravity of his wife's injuries. Fortunately, Dino had promptly alerted the authorities, allowing police and medical teams to arrive within minutes. Lisa was quickly transported to the hospital in a critical condition. While the immediate outlook was uncertain, it soon became evident that she would survive her injuries. However, Costa's reaction to this news was peculiarly composed. He immediately reached out to his lawyer to ensure he wouldn't face charges for the night's events. His lawyer reassured him, framing Costa not as a criminal but as a hero who had thwarted a dangerous assailant. As the Pasbalakis family held considerable local influence, news of the incident spread rapidly, gaining extensive media attention. The narrative, heavily shaped by statements from Costa's attorney, painted him as a valiant figure who had bravely confronted and neutralized a lethal threat to his family. The public largely absorbed and accepted the story as a botched robbery, where an intruder had broken into a wealthy home with the intent to murder the occupants and eliminate any witnesses, only to be courageously overpowered by Costa. This portrayal of the events solidified his status in the media and community as a heroic figure who had dramatically saved his wife from a fatal encounter. As the detectives continued their investigation of the Pasbalakis residence, they stumbled upon a peculiar anomaly at the crime scene. One segment of the glass sliding doors on the ground floor was shattered, ostensibly marking the intruder's point of entry. However, the distribution of the glass fragments, which lay scattered on both sides of the door, raised suspicions. This pattern was atypical for a break-in from the outside, but this oddity initially went unnoticed amidst the broader chaos of the crime scene. Curiously, the presumed intruder was found without any money or valuables, items that were readily accessible within the house. It appeared that upon entering, he bypassed valuable antiques, artwork, and even an openly visible jewelry box, heading directly to the master bedroom. This selective oversight suggested a direct and deliberate motive rather than a random burglary. Further complicating the narrative was the fact that the intruder targeted Lisa, who was asleep on the far side of the bed away from the door. This positioning meant the assailant had to pass by Costa to reach her and shot her at close range, a strategic choice that seemed illogical unless the true intent was to harm her specifically. The case took a dramatic turn on November 7th when an anonymous caller informed the police that he had been approached by Deidre Hunt a week prior. with an offer of money to kill Lisa. This revelation not only linked Deidre to the crime, but also confirmed suspicions of her affair with Costa, which, while not universally known, was suspected by many. Deidre was arrested the same day without resistance, indicating perhaps an expectation or resignation to her fate. During her interrogation, she expressed a willingness to cooperate, also voicing fears for her safety from Costa, whom she believed would harm her if he knew she was speaking to the authorities. Deidre confessed that her relationship with Costa had begun the previous summer, and despite knowing he was married, she was drawn in by promises of a lavish future together, a future contingent on Lisa's absence. Driven by the allure of a glamorous life and significant financial benefits, including an insurance payout, Deidre admitted to seeking out a hitman for the murder. After several failed attempts, she successfully enlisted 18-year-old Brian Chase for the murder, promising him $5,000 to carry out the hit, revealing a tangled web of manipulation and betrayal that lay beneath the surface of the incident. Deidre also revealed that Costa had provided the revolver intended as the murder weapon, which she then passed to Brian Chase along with instructions on how to enter their home. The initial plan was set for November 2nd, but the inexperienced hitman struggled to execute it. On his first attempt, he was deterred by a car arriving at a neighboring house, and on the second day, he failed to break the sturdy glass door, nearly alerting the entire neighborhood with the noise. By the third day, an impatient Costa took matters into his own hands, smashing the glass himself in a way that caused the shards to scatter outward, facilitating Chase's entry. Once inside, Chase proceeded directly to the master bedroom as instructed. His gun, loaded with 5 bullets, was meant to end Lisa's life as she slept. However, after firing the initial shot, the gun jammed, thwarting his plan. At this critical moment, Costa acted, opening fire on the hitman and neutralizing the threat he himself had orchestrated. During the police investigation, when asked if Costa had planned to compensate Brian, Deidre disclosed that there was never an intention to pay him. Costa had planned to eliminate any loose ends, ensuring no witnesses or evidence would remain. This chilling revelation exposed the depth of Costa's ruthlessness and manipulation. The interrogation also uncovered a prior violent act involving another victim, a young homeless man named Mark Kevin Ramsey, who had recently turned 19. Costa and Deidre had enticed him into the woods under the guise of an initiation ritual where they bound him to a tree. While Costa filmed the scene, ensuring he stayed out of frame, he instructed Deidre to execute the murder. Deidre, claiming to be under Costa's coercive control, complied with his commands and shot Mark 3 times in the chest and once in the head. Though her account seemed far-fetched, she led investigators to the location where they indeed found a decomposed body, tied to a tree and bearing wounds, as she described. This heinous act was apparently motivated by Costa's desire to entangle Deidre deeper into his web of crime. By making her a direct participant in such a gruesome act, he ensured her loyalty and silence, as any attempt to betray him would implicate her as well, binding her to him through shared guilt and the threat of mutual destruction. The unraveling of Costa and Deidre's plot thickened with the testimony from the surviving victim, Lisa, coupled with the discovery of Mark Ramsey's body, which compelled the police to arrest Costa. During interrogation, Costa vehemently denied all accusations, asserting his love for his wife and dismissing Deidre as a liar and blackmailer obsessed with him. He speculated that Deidre, driven by her infatuation and desire for a luxurious life, could have independently orchestrated the hit to eliminate her rival, Lisa. Meanwhile, Lisa, having regained consciousness in the hospital, provided her statement revealing her awareness of Costa's infidelities. She recounted confronting Costa in late October, threatening divorce and financial cutoff, which had prompted Costa's feigned promise to end the affair and mend their relationship. However, Lisa remained suspicious, especially after observing Costa's clandestine activities around their backyard near the barbecue area. Acting on Lisa's suspicions, the police secured a search warrant and discovered a hidden black bag exactly where Lisa had indicated. Inside the bag was a handgun with a silencer, which ballistics matched to the weapon used to kill Ramsey. Intriguingly, only Deidre's fingerprints were found on the gun, adding a layer of complexity to the case. While this evidence supported Deidre's account, it was not enough to conclusively implicate Costa without further proof. The breakthrough came when detectives found a videotape in a concealed bag within the garage. The footage depicted Hunt firing at Ramsey, bound to a tree, confirming her physical involvement in the murder. However, identifying the male voice directing her off camera proved challenging, leaving some ambiguity in attributing verbal commands to Costa. As the case progressed, both Costa and Deidre faced the grim prospect of the death penalty, prompting each to deflect blame onto the other. The investigation also unearthed troubling details about Deidre's background. It was revealed that her mother suffered from mental illness and was frequently hospitalized, leaving Deidre under the sporadic care of her mother's partners, one of whom had behaved inappropriately towards her as a child. Recognizing the influence of her attractiveness from a young age, Deidre learned to use her looks to navigate and manipulate her circumstances, setting the stage for her later actions. Costa was the first person to seriously promise marriage to Deidre, and with the prospect of a comfortable and secure life alongside him, the scheme to eliminate his wife for the insurance and inheritance benefits seemed like an irresistible plan. Deidre was not just a passive participant. She was actively involved in orchestrating the crime, from recruiting a hitman to proposing they stage the murder as a botched robbery to cover their tracks. Deidre matched Costa in cunning and greed, but when law enforcement began to tighten the net around them, she swiftly turned against her lover in an attempt to preserve her own life, hoping to minimize her culpability and reduce her potential sentence. The trial of the nefarious duo commenced in October 1990. By this time, Lisa had sufficiently recovered to provide a damning testimony. She unequivocally identified her husband's voice on the incriminating tape, a voice she declared she could never misidentify. Further complicating Costa's defense, Deidre testified that off-camera, Costa had coerced her at gunpoint, threatening to kill both her and Mark if she did not comply. However, the footage contradicted her portrayal of fear. She appeared composed, even instructing the cameraman on how to better capture the scene. Costa, maintaining his innocence, argued that all evidence against him was concocted by Deidre in a vindictive attempt to ruin his life. He insisted that the true scenario involved an intruder and that his actions were solely in defense of himself and his wife. Yet, the critical evidence, the videotape, ultimately sealed their fate. It was intended as a tool for leverage and blackmail, but instead served as undeniable proof of his guilt. On October 25, 1990, the court found both Costa and Deidre guilty on multiple counts, including conspiracy, premeditated murder of Mark Ramsey, and the attempted murder of Lisa. Additionally, Costa was convicted for the murder of Brian Chase. They were both sentenced to death by electric chair. In 1995, however, Deidre's sentence was commuted to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole following a review of her case. Costa, meanwhile, continued to file appeals, all of which were denied. To this day, he remains on death row, his fate sealed by the very manipulations he orchestrated.